A lot of messages from you reaching out, talking with me about what you're experiencing at home. And I've also seen it in a lot of just posts from people, that people are reaching their own breaking points, that people are finding that the stress is getting really hard to handle. And I've seen a lot of people talk about how their kids are just crying. They are crying more than usual. They're having these meltdowns, and they are feeling sort of at a loss because for a lot of our well-adjusted kids, these behaviors, these extra tears, these meltdowns, these things that we can't explain, these obvious stressors are not typical for our kids. And we're like, what's going on? Why is my kid acting like this? What's happening with them? And I just saw that this is, coming in from you guys, messages from you, what you're posting, what you're sharing. And so I wanted to talk specifically to those types of situations that might be happening in your house, those extra tears, those meltdowns, those visible signs of stress that are coming from our kids. And when I say kids, I don't mean necessarily your 3-year-olds, your 4-year-olds, your 5-year-olds. I'm talking every age from birth to 18, 19, 20, because everyone, even us grown-ups, are feeling these stressors. And we may be having our own sorts of meltdowns, and we are definitely having moments of just tears and breakdown. But in our homes, it is our responsibility as the grown-up to help our kids handle this visible stress that we're seeing in them. So when I talk about kids, try and think about how this can relate to your household, no matter what age children you have in your home right now. It's really important that we first become aware and spend enough time around our kids to see these things happening and to really believe and trust that what's happening with them right now doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them. It doesn't mean that it's going to be long lasting, but it is happening now. So pay attention to that, be aware of that, and start working with your kids now because the stress is real. I know you're feeling it too. And if they are having more tears, if they're having more meltdowns, it is very real for them. It is a way that they are expressing to you that they need a little bit of help, a little bit of support. This week in my house, there were some extra tears, and sometimes I found myself frustrated with it. Like, can you just stop crying and continue on with your homework? I found myself wanting to discipline, and I had to take a step back and say, okay, this is a sign of stress. How am I going to help my daughter, who's almost 10, through it? So here's some tips for you that hopefully will help in your household. The first one is remember that you are in charge and you are the example, and the vibes or the energy that you give off will really make an impact on your children. So if you want your child to calm down, stop crying, breathe a little bit, you need to be that example. You need to be calm. You need to do the breathing. You need to be counting to 10. You need to have the soft, quiet, calm voice. You need to have that sense of stress-free in your face. Now, are you stress-free? Guys, I get it, okay? I'm not stress-free in my house either. But for your child's sake, in that moment of extra tears, in that moment of meltdown, if you, the parent, the caregiver, is showing that you can be calm in that moment, your child can mimic that. Your child can feel that energy. Your child can use that calm energy as the example and be able to join with you in that moment. So really make sure that if you need a minute to calm yourself down before you can help your child calm themselves down, that's okay. Take that moment for yourself so that you can be calm, so that you can have the calm voice, and that you can help them through that moment. All right, my second tip for you is consider these times of meltdown, these times of crying, to be an opportunity for you to use sensory to help them calm down. Kids are very much sensory type beings. Think about babies. When they are crying or they are upset, what do we typically do? Put a pacifier in their mouth, right? Or we hold them tight, or we rock them, or we shh them. That's sound sensory, that's feelings, that's feeling of being held safely. Same idea. No matter if these kids are 5, 10, 15, or 20, you can offer sensory support in the same way. So here are some options. A stuffed animal, holding it, petting it. Maybe they just need a hug. Maybe just a touch on the shoulder. Maybe some hair stroking. As grown-ups, right? If we just do a little bit of this for ourselves, that's pretty calming. You can do that for your kid. Maybe a weighted blanket, maybe just any kind of blanket, maybe going outside and feeling the sunshine on their face. These are all types of sensory opportunities that you can offer your child. But it can't just be like, go to your room and hug your stuffed animal. It's a moment where you can be connected with them and present with them and be that calming source, just like the first tip, and then give them an opportunity to have sensory. I remember when my daughter was having kind of just a moment where she just seemed overwhelmed, and I happened to have some of that like putty, like that squishy putty, and I just handed it to her, and the turn was immediate. She was able to play with it. It was a focus of attention. It felt good, and she was able to calm herself down. I stayed with her. I was present with her. But it was really, really important that I offered that sensory to her. So every kid's different, big kids, little kids. Think about what your kid may appreciate, may gravitate towards. You might offer them something, they might throw it back at you. But this is an opportunity to give them some sensory ways to calm down. All right, my last tip for you is you are trying to encourage self-regulation in your kids. It's harder for the little ones, the 2, 3, 4-year-olds, but the ideal situation is that your kid can recognize that they are feeling upset, that they are starting to get agitated, and they can calm themselves down because you won't always be there. So you need to be able to remind them of the skills that you have built with them. You need to be able to do it with them and be the example. And you don't want to just send them to their room and say, go calm down. Go to your room and go calm down. How many times have you said that, right? Okay, you're not a bad parent. I do it too. But try to be in the moment with them so that you can calm down with them. And then later on, if you see another meltdown happening, or you see more tears happening, or some more frustration happening, say, remember last time when you hugged your teddy bear and you felt better? Let's do that. Okay? So you as the grown-up are the reminder, the teacher. You're the one that's helping them figure this stuff out. So spend the time being the reminder so that they will have better self-regulation later on. Once they have calmed down, it's really key. And if you remember nothing else from what I'm about to offer you, it's this. Have a chat after the tears, after the meltdown, after the blow up, after the craziness. Once everybody is calm, you included, have a chat about what that was. What triggered it? What was it about? How can you help better next time? What did it feel like? You have to have that conversation. It can't just happen in a vacuum and move on. You have to have that conversation because it's a teaching moment. Kids are learning how to be successful grown-ups, and they're learning from you everything right now, right? While they're at home with them. So you have to be able to give them those tips, have that conversation for later on, so that they can be well-developed, well-adjusted grown-ups. I really, really just want to reiterate that this is happening in every house. If it's happening every day with your kids, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with you. They are just feeling this just like we are. Just like we are. We might have a glass of wine. We might take a long bubble bath. We might take extra sleep. We might be getting exercise. However, we have learned to cope, but our kids are still figuring that out. So we got to help them through it. It's okay. things will get better. Hang in there. Please let me know if you have any questions or you need other tips or ideas. I'm here for you guys. I'll keep popping in. I hope you have a great Thursday. Give your kids a hug, and I'll talk with you soon. Thanks, guys.